It's time for some mounted Marines. It's December 1988 and Hellraiser 2 has just been released at the cinema. And Nana Cherry is still in the charts with the Buffalo Stance. My name's Marcel and this is the Buffalo Stance. No, I'm only kidding, it's Snakeworks. After a little breakdancing, Games Workshop then decide to release some of my favourite Warhammer 40,000 miniatures of all time. Some mounted Space Marines. 2 Techmarines and 2 Chaplains on 2 different types of crotch rockets, bikes and jetbikes. Fantastic stuff. These lovely leaden figures were sculpted by Games Workshop expert sculptors Mark Copplestone and Alan Perry. Sadly, I don't know who sculpted which, so if you know, then please let us all know in the comments below. Let's have a closer look at these wonderful miniatures, shall we? To kick things off, we begin with this incredible looking miniature, a Techmarine on Vincent Black Shadow motorbike, but I didn't need to tell you that as it's written at the bottom. Now, I'm no two-wheeled motor contraption expert, but someone once told me that Vincent Black Shadows actually exist, although they don't have bolters and big Imperial Eagles on, which sounds like a bit of a shame, to be honest. Were they old Second World War motorbikes or something? Was it something to do with the mods and rockers scene back in the day? I'd have no idea. Now, according to international law, all Space Marines from the Rogue Trader era must be wearing Mark VI power armour unless they have some sort of pass, get out jail free card. This chap is no different. We can tell it's Mark VI by these standard distinguishing features. In this case, a pointy nose and a studded shoulder pad. It's easy to spot them from a distance, just like Tom Selleck's moustache. If you'd be so kind as to have a little goosey gander at this Marine's right shoulder pad, on our left you'll see a big sculpted hand, or talon thing. This was the original logo for Techmarines. What a fleshy hand had to do with engineering, I have no idea. Maybe I'm missing something. Also, the Techmarine's left-hand shoulder pad has what appears to be a random sculpted, weird fleshy texture. Maybe he leant into the warp shoulder first one day and was stopped on the brink. We've all been there. The Techmarine is holding a massive wrench in his left hand. Would this be classed as a power wrench, or is it just a stupidly big version of what we have now? At the end of the day, it's just a big tool, and we all know a few big tools, right? Also at the bottom or hilt of this wrench, it seems to have a textured box of some kind. Is that the battery pack? I think the texture is an embossed Imperial Eagle, but I can't quite make it out. The design of these old Rogue Trader era motorbikes are really rather cool. Well, in my opinion at least. I'm a big fan of those massive armoured tyres and the general shape of the bike. I would go so far as to say I would ride one in real life if I had the chance. I've mentioned about getting a motorbike to Mrs. Snakeworks a few times over the years, but she seems a little bit worried that I would kill myself on it, as my driving style is, how you might say, aggressive. I just don't like dawdling about, you know? I hate dawdlers, especially you and your Honda Jazz. Move over, you slow f***. Of course, I myself am an excellent driver. Just like Rain Man.
I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah, that's good. Come on.
Yeehaw! It's time for some rootin' tootin' orky shootin'. We love a bit of old Wild West here on the channel. Also, what in the actual hell does rootin' tootin' even mean anyway? You see it in loads of old media, though not much nowadays. Let's look it up. Okay, so it looks like it might have something to do with trumpet sounds or pigs. Is that a pig? What's a gesture for a pig? So what we have here is something we don't see very often at all these days. A Techmarine on a jet bike. We have Techmarines, yes. And we have jet bikes, yes. But never really Techmarines on jet bikes. And that's something I would like to see return. I feel it's a weird look that needs to come back because we love the weirdness. This Techmarine is a little different to the previous Techmarine in that he's forgetful. He appears to have left his giant wrench at home. Oh dear. He has, however, come equipped with a bolt pistol, so maybe he just shoots the offending machine rather than fixing it, administering the omniscience peace or something. On the side of the Techmarine's hip is what appears to be either a very small washing machine or perhaps a tape measure. Even super advanced Techmarines need one of those, it seems. The funny thing is, I own about 4 tape measures, but when I need one, I can never find it, and then a few days later, I'll find one in a really random place. Is that just me, or does that happen to everyone? The Techmarine has assumed a strange riding position for his jet bike. I think he's half standing with his bum off the seat. Looks a bit weird to me, like when people ride horses. Sometimes they stand up. I don't know much about horse riding at all though, and I bet there's a reason for it. It's all just horsing around to me. I'll get my coat. These old jet bikes have a funny look to them, don't they? I think they had a name, but I can't remember what it was. It's not the Bullock, I think that was the earlier one, I think. These ones have that interesting wedge-shaped nose to them that is stuck around to this day with the likes of Samuel the Dark Angel, or is it Samael? Anyway, also the spaceships have the same look. I think they call that a shared design language or something like that. On a basic level, it looks like a missile with a seat. Oh, and a gun. Now, although we do have plastic jet bikes in the Heresy, the scimitar pattern or whatever it's called, I am hoping that we do get a version of these sloping fronted ones in the Heresy too. I feel they're a little bit more interesting to look at. Maybe by the time this video goes live, they'll have been shown off or something. Who knows, time will, as they say, tell. Now, if you fancy discussing jet bike styles or anything else hobby related, then please feel free to come along and join us on our friendly Discord server, which is not behind a paywall. You can find the link to it in the description below or up here somewhere. We look forward to chatting to you there. Alright then everybody, it's now time for a new type of jet bike rider, a chaplain. We've had enough of Techmarines for today. Although if I had to pick one to be given, I might pick the Techmarine over the chaplain as they seem rarer, like a rare Pokemon card. Do people even still collect Pokemon cards? A waste of money. As you would expect for a Space Marine chaplain, he has a skull-themed mask or helmet. This has been the case since the very first chaplains in the late 1980s, all the way up until the modern chaplains of today. It's a design motif that has stood the test of time. This chaplain's Crozius has a rather interesting robotic look to its eagle pommel. In fact, if we didn't know it was an eagle from a previous chaplain miniature, you might just think it's a skeleton with a cape. Oh, and with a lovely horizontally striped sweater. Like Freddy Krueger. Has there ever been a Crozius like this since? I can't say I recall seeing one. This chaplain has a really massive book attached to his hip. I always thought books were a librarian thing, you know, carrying around their spells and incantations, etc. What does a chaplain need a book for anyway? Is it his naughty list? Or maybe it's a list of inspiring speeches like Theoden's from Return of the King, a great scene from a wonderful movie trilogy. So this time the jet bike is exactly the same as the previous one. The exact same sculpt, just a different rider. There's nothing new there, unless they did make variations of the jet bike sculpts, but I'm pretty sure it is just this one. On the front fairing of the jet bike are where the twin-linked bolters are mounted. You can see them on the side there. Well, one of them anyway. The other is on the other side, funnily enough. However, on the top of the fairing is something that also looks a bit like a weapon barrel of sorts, or perhaps it's an exhaust. If it was an exhaust, I would feel the smoke coming out would get up all in your face, and also might not even work due to being forced to work against the direction of travel the jetbike's facing. So maybe it is just another secret weapon. Do any of you guys have any ideas on what it might be? Actually, there is a dedicated exhaust on the rear there, unless that one's a secret weapon. Now, fun fact, when I was a lad, I was pulled over by the old Bill for having a loud exhaust. The reason for that was because I had a hole in it. I wasn't actually trying to be a chav or a Gary boy or an incel or whatever it is they call the people who drive loud, obnoxious cars these days. What do they call it now? Apart from twat. Anyway, I digress. I thought that hole in the exhaust sounded good. Speaking of good, if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. That means you, Gary. If you are enjoying the content on the channel, then please consider joining us on Patreon, the link to which is in the description below, or up here somewhere. Or you can even become a channel member, which is becoming all the rage these days. Again, there's a link to that in the description below. One shall stand, and one shall fall. It's Optimus Prime the Chaplain, the most famous of all Autobots in Warhammer 40,000. The reason I say this gentleman is Optimus Prime is because of that faceplate. Look at that, it's wonderful. It looks just like Mr. Optimus Prime. I do have to wonder if it also moves up and down when he talks. That would be awesome, if a little pointless. This chaplain has a built-in banner pole. It's not actually coming out the top of his backpack. This was a thing in some early Rogue Trader miniatures, but was phased out pretty quickly. It's an interesting look that I feel could come back in some form or another. Also, this particular banner has a very small banner on top of it. It looks like an old wife beater vest, the sort of thing my old science teacher used to wear at high school. Hello Mr. Randall if you're watching. The chaplain's left shoulder pad, the one with the skull on, has an interesting texture to it, like a hammered or beaten texture. There's a paint called Hammerite you can get over here that gives you that texture when it's painted on. I used it a long time ago on the back of my old pickup truck, a truck I really miss. It was so much fun. Maybe one day we can get another one. The Vincent Black Shadow has its bolter attached to the front wheel, one on either side. What I find most amusing about this design is that it's literally just a bolter stuck there. The magazine is still hanging down quite close to the floor. They must be an absolute swine to change. A better design would have a top-mounted magazine, with a hole in the fairing to account for it. But I'm no sci-fi armed bike expert, so there might be a reason that couldn't happen. One of the things I love about these old Space Marine bike designs are those wheels. They're really chunky. I assume it's due to them being armoured in some shape or form. With that look though, they do remind me of old wooden cartwheels for some reason, and that's fantastic. I love those old bikes. If you want to see some more Oldhammer themed videos, then check out the playlist up here somewhere. And as always, thank you very much for watching.